Hello and welcome to Nerd Subculture. I'm your host, Jarrod.
And I'm Edwina.
And if you listen to this is our Once More with Feeling series on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Today, Eddie, we are doing Season 5, Episode 12. Oh, that means we're over the hump now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Over the hump. Checkpoint. This episode first aired January 23rd, 2001. Written by Doug Petrie and Jane Espenson and directed by Nick Marek.
Wow, you got all the names right.
I got the names right, Eddie. Thank
Good
you so
boy.
much. Over to you, Eddie.
This is a full spoiler podcast. I'm a huge fan, but Jarrod has never watched the series all the way through, and I'm trying to convince him it's worth his time.
Yes. So, as I mentioned, over the hump of Season 5, we're into Episode 12 out of 22.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what episode number this is. 90-somethingth. We're getting closer to 100, Eddie.
I know.
Getting close to 100. And if you are listening to us, please like, share, subscribe. Just want to throw the call to action there in case you don't listen to the end. No one listens to the end. I usually save it at the end. But yeah, Eddie, so Checkpoint. Eddie, what was it like revisiting this episode and what was it like the first time you saw it?
Well, it's an overarching episode and we finally find out what glory is.
Yes, we do.
I actually really love this episode. I feel like it's a little feel-good episode just because of that little speech that she does at the end. And I do really love that this episode has this exploration of power dynamics.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because Buffy gets absolutely shitted on all the way through this episode.
Constantly. Just constantly by the people that should be her subordinates.
Yes. Exactly. But the other thing is it's not just the Watchers Council. Like, we know the Watchers Council are awful.
Yeah.
But you had pretty much everyone she came in contact with.
It was like, I'm just rethinking it now. Everyone walked into the room and just shut on her and walked out.
Yeah. So yeah, you got like the university professor,
didn't like being dictated by her or questioning.
Well, she was just bringing up, like, it was just that thing that, her thoughts and opinions were completely invalid.
Yes. Would you like to teach?
Yes. And as a woman, that happens a lot.
Oh, God.
Happens a lot, Jarrod.
Yeah.
And then you've got Spike. Spike starts taking a jab at her as well and starts saying, maybe you're losing your looks and putting all her value on her looks, pretty much, and her age. So he starts grinding on her confidence as well. But, yeah, it's not just...
Yeah, everyone had something to say, didn't they?
Yeah. And Glory and the Knights of Byzantium.
Pazuzu. We're going to see more of those guys?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay, all right.
So we do get the return of the awful Watchers Council, and we get the introduction of the Knights of Byzantium, who they are just actually a walking plot hole, and I'll get into that.
All right, yeah, we'll save that for Ron.
And they do add to the reason why I don't like this season, because there are just so many things wrong about them.
Okay. Absolutely wrong.
And this episode does sort of feel like, that it's about sort of venturing into adulthood. Like, throughout it, Buffy is, she's constantly being called a child, and treated like a child as well.
Yeah.
I think even in that speech at the end, the girl says something about civilians, but we're talking about children.
Yeah.
And they even call Xander just a boy.
Yeah,
and I'm like, they are not...
They're all like pushing 30.
Yeah, but they've all got jobs and responsibilities. They've, they weren't children 3 apocalypses ago. Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but, I do really like this episode.
Okay, all right. Top tier, Eddie?
Well, we get that great Captain America fist pump speech that she does.
Okay, yeah.
That just kind of makes all of that shitting, it is that thing where she does find her value and that she is the powerful one.
Yeah.
And they should be working for her, not the other way around.
For sure, yeah.
And she's not a child.
No, she's not. Okay, Edie, well, that sounds like a lot to get through. So it seems like we may have a lot to get through in this episode. So I'll get the summary out the way and we'll get back to it. The council arrives in Sunnydale and they immediately disrupt the magic box, announcing that it will be closed for the duration of their stay. Quentin Travis and his team of watchers plan to conduct an extensive review of Buffy's methods, skills, and abilities. The council claims to have information on Glory, but they won't reveal it until Buffy passes the review. Buffy must pass the council's review or risk having the shop shut down and Giles deported. Buffy worries that she may fail and place her friends and loved ones in great danger. The rest of the Scooby Gang, including Spike, are interviewed for information about their involvement in the Slayer's life. In the training room, Buffy is blindfolded and her fighting skills are tested against one of the council members, but she fails the test. Upon returning home, Buffy finds Glory in her living room. Glory openly threatens to kill Buffy's loved ones and friends and forces her to watch her do so if she does not give up the key. Visibly disturbed, Buffy takes Dawn and Joyce to Spike for protection. On her way to the review meeting, Buffy is attacked by the Knights of Bezethium, who want to destroy the key. Buffy realizes that she holds power against both Glory and the council. She demands that Giles be reinstated as a watcher and instructs the council to give her the information she needs. Quentin agrees to Buffy's terms, and she asks him to tell her what kind of demon Glory is. But he corrects her that Glory is not in fact a demon, but is a god.
Bum, bum, bum.
Probably needs a bump in the ending. I'll put one in. Yes, a big revelation there. I didn't know that. I didn't know she was a god.
Yeah. Well, there were kind of some clues.
Were there?
Oh, the fact that all her minions kind of worship her. And she does say to Buffy, "You should be worshipping at my feet for even talking to you."
Well, villains kind of think that themselves as gods, so I can see that passing under the radar. Probably will make more sense the second time you watch it, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you want to start with, Eddie, then?
Well, I think my first talking point was about Buffy being shitted on, but I think I already covered that.
I think I kind of covered that. Yeah.
So my first talking point was about Buffy getting shitted on, but that is sort of that form of that form of psychological manipulation that happens within toxic relationships and abusive relationships. Is that's how you keep them? That's how you take away their power and lower their confidence. Is by constantly telling them that they're
worthless.
Yes,
and
they're just,
demeaning them.
Yes.
Constantly demeaning
humiliating them.
Humiliating them and making them worthless. And they are nothing without you.
Yes.
Yes.
And that you need them.
You need them. Exactly.
Which is why that speech at the end is great.
It is a real power dynamic. And we've spoken about this before.
But it's used as a form of control.
Yeah. But it's also the power dynamic between the Watchers Council and the Slayer, and the fact that they seem to be under the impression that the Slayer works for them.
Yes.
But they have no control over the Slayer. Like the Slayer appears by some uncontrollable force. They don't summon a Slayer, do they?
No.
No, they have no control of who or where the Slayer is.
Yeah.
So they work for her. She doesn't work for them. And it's a power dynamic that they seem to keep forgetting.
Yeah, except, well, as Travis says, he's like, the Slayers change, but the council stays the same. So that's why they're like, we're in charge. You're just our tool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he calls her like an instrument constantly. Like they're just an instrument of the like the Slayer's just an instrument of the council.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've...
And if she dies, we'll get another one.
But they've got two... Like, this is one of those things as well, is that... So they've got two Slayers, and both of them are like, fuck the council.
Yeah.
Which I wonder how often that actually happens. But they have that... I can't remember what they call it. That ceremony when they turn 18 to pretty much make sure that the Slayers stay young and are replaced. But Buffy passed that test.
Yeah.
She wasn't meant to pass it. And so you can see why she doesn't want them there, because they have actually, like, I think she says they've tried to kill her twice. Pretty sure they've actually tried to kill her 3 times.
Wow. The people that work for you, huh?
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is that both the Knights of Bethlehem and the Watchers Council claim to be good guys.
Yes. Yeah. They're the good guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But,
However.
But they don't come to her asking to work with her.
No,
They just
don't.
come at her threatening her.
Yeah.
And putting her down. Like, and telling her she's worthless. Like, I think the Knights say, we have these enormous numbers,
Yeah, an army.
You're inconvenienced, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about.
Well, hang on, before we move on. So we've had the initiative, we've got the Watchers Council, we've got the Knights of Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
So if these guys were to form some sort of alliance, they could be very powerful.
Yeah.
And could prevent bad things, or I'm not sure what they would do, but it could be a great allies together to defeat her. However, it just doesn't work out, does it? They're all fighting against each other. They're all struggling for control over I'm not sure exactly what, but just instead of coming together and doing something, they're all apart and doing nothing, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of working together
To achieve something, they're all separated and doing nothing.
And kind of fighting
between each other and achieving nothing. Yeah. And making it so much easier for the other team.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to do anything.
Yeah. So that's also a big issue with the Knights, is that this is their introduction, but you get absolutely no information about them.
Yeah.
Like, where did these guys come from? Why were they formed? What the hell are they doing? How on earth? Like, what are the logistics of their operation? Because they are super conspicuous.
Yeah.
Like, they've got face tattoos and they wear like chainmail armor as their garb. Like, why? Like, why are they fighting with swords and bows and arrows? Like, why aren't they like a proper army against Glory?
Like using guns.
Yes.
Yeah, no one uses guns enough in this show.
But they're supposed to, or magic or whatever.
Something, yeah.
Just something, because they're supposed to be there to stop Glory.
Yeah.
Like, they are there to protect the world against Glory. Like, but what are they doing? And how are they doing it without being noticed, like, by anybody?
Is Glory?
And how are they conscripting these men?
Are they religious? Sept?
Well,
Is that sort of their basis of their community? Is it?
no.
Okay, all right. Just some sort
But
of
then they've got these
chainmail fight club sort of thing.
Yeah, but then they've got these clerics as well that do magic.
Is that who we saw with the key? Is that
No, they were the monks. They were another order.
Oh, okay, all right.
Another
order.
Yeah. And they're going on about destroying the key. And I'm just like, if this key is so dangerous, like, why didn't the monks destroy it? Like, why are they only trying to destroy? Like, why was this key even in existence to begin with? Like, if it could be so easily destroyed, why? Like, it seemed like it was something that couldn't be destroyed. That's why it was kind of there.
Did we find out the lore of the key?
No, and that's why
really?
That's why I kind of hate this season.
So we're never really given an explanation as to what the key actually was before.
You do, but you don't.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like, you get some explanation on the key, and then you're like, that's the stupidest. Like, why?
Just the perfect plot device.
Yeah. And the other thing is, how are they feeding and housing all these thousands of men and horses, and how are they making all this chainmail? Where are they getting the money from?
Yeah, where's the finances coming from?
Like, there's just nothing.
Magic?
Like, I can understand maybe it's coming from magic or something like that.
Magic to make money with magic?
Yeah, well, I think you can.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't see why not.
There you go. Can you make guns with magic?
Well, they don't make any sense. And then in later episodes, they're like riding around on horses. Like they've got like full cavalry.
Yeah.
Like it.
Don't like dirt bikes, huh?
Like, but where are they training? Like, where are they living? How are they all getting to Sunnydale?
I mean, you can put like 20 bikes in a little shed. You couldn't house 20 horses in a little shed. You'd need a huge barn to do that.
Yeah.
And lots of hay and lots of feed and yeah.
And the other thing is, how do they know about that Buffy has anything to, like, how are they getting their information? That's the other thing. Like, it's never explained, ever.
Yeah.
Like,
So
they are literally a walking plot hole that adds nothing to this season.
So you sort of feel like you could just yank them out.
You can yank these guys out.
Yeah.
And it, like, there is one plot point that they're key to.
Yeah.
But you could easily
just make that part of the Watchers Council or something.
Tied
up with them or the monks or something.
You could like when we get to it.
Yeah.
I'll say how they could have.
All right. Okay. Save that for one. Save it.
Yeah. And besides the knights, another thing that makes very little sense is when Willow and Tara are being interviewed by the Watchers Council, and the Watchers Council ask Willow and Tara what level they're at.
Well, okay, yeah.
And are they registered under the names that they gave to the Watchers Council?
A registration.
A registration.
Like which roads or something?
Well, here's that's the issue that I see here is that Giles used to be part of the Watchers Council. Like, and now we're finding out that there is some sort of institution of witchcraft that Giles has never talked to Willow about.
Well, maybe there was a reason.
But does it, like, and it just, well, it makes me think, like, why wouldn't have Giles have mentioned it?
Well,
or whether or not, is this guy just bullshitting? Like, is there a place that, like, because Willow was, season 4, desperately trying to learn how to do witchcraft. Like, desperately trying to move up.
Yeah, but maybe he didn't really want to encourage it, maybe.
Well, she was obviously already interested in it, and she'd already been doing a number of spells with Giles even.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't he have said to her, hey, this is a place that you can learn magic safely?
Okay, we're playing devil's advocate here, so maybe he just didn't want her to get involved with the Watchers Council.
But maybe they're not part of the Watchers Council.
Okay. Or maybe that. Yeah, maybe that.
It's
bullshit altogether.
I'm thinking it's either bullshit altogether, or is there a whole other institution to do with witchcraft?
Why not? I mean, you got the Knights of Pazuzu, whatever they're called.
The Knights Templar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Knights of Knee.
The Knights of Knee.
No, not the Knights who say knee. The same.
Yes, we've got your favourite. Dawn is doing your favourite little eavesdropping.
Yeah.
Constantly. She's constantly doing it.
It's got nothing else to do by the looks of it.
I hate it. All right. Now I'll talk about the speech at the end, which is sort of a very poignant moment in the episode.
Yeah.
But there is something that really highlights the hypocrisy. And it was that where the blonde watcher interrupts Buffy saying that they're civilians. They're not just civilians, they're children. And Buffy has the great comeback line of, 2 very powerful witches and a 1,000-year-old demon. And that, and then they call Xander a boy who has no power. And she sort of clocks back with, he's had more field time than all of them combined. My point is that why wasn't this an issue 5 years ago when they were actual kids?
Yeah.
Fighting with Buffy, I can't even count how many apocalypses they've actually been involved in.
Yeah,
and
it's been a few. Yeah.
Why is it an issue now?
Why is it an issue now? It's a very good question. So the plot can happen, I guess.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we know that a lot of Buffy's power comes from having her friends fighting alongside her. and that they are her connection to the world. It's actually where a lot of her power comes from.
Yeah, well, she needs them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Watchers Council, they're not doing it. They don't actively participate. It's just very annoying that they claim to be on the side of good, but
Well, now
I feel like they're a very corrupted bureaucracy.
Yeah. As I said, we've gone over this several times before,
Yeah.
but there was one thing when he was doing his speech or doing his talk that really irked me, and that was when he said he had information on Glory.
Mm-hmm.
However, he was going to hold that back until Buffy passed some ridiculous review, which I was like, what? What? Isn't this like an existential threat on humanity?
Yeah.
And you're going to hold this information back because she has to do some shitty fucking review?
Well,
How is that helpful? How is that really helping anyone? So she fails, I guess we're not going to tell her. We might as well put our heads between our legs and kiss our asses goodbye because we're fucked. So what's the point of that? Why even dangle that in front of her?
Well, I think Buffy does a good, within that speech that she does at the end.
Yeah.
The review was, it was pretty much so that they could pick apart her methods, and pretty much it was to work their way back into the Slayer's life.
This is where you're failing, and this is how we're going to fix your problems.
Yeah.
Almost like an infomercial, like, hey, offer a problem, then offer a solution.
And at this point, they're thinking that Buffy's really not doing anything. She's not really they think that she's just off, partying and living her life normally because she's not.
Red party cups everywhere.
Well, she's not taking the normal, she's at college, she must be just, being a normal
person.
Normal person.
God forbid.
She's not solely focused on being a Slayer. So they think that she's not really fighting the fight anymore. So maybe they are a bit skeptical, but again, they haven't been there.
No.
So they don't really know. But I think what the review was supposed to do was to make sure that, get back in a circle and have her under control.
Yeah.
But her coming in and claiming her authority, the way that she actually ends up standing up to them, showing that she is actually a leader and having that confidence and the clarity of calling them out and, and saying there's nothing you can do with that information that you have.
Yeah. Whatever you've got, it's useless to you. If you could solve the problem without me, then why are you fucking here?
Yeah. But I think because she ended up standing up to them and showing that she is actually an authority to be reckoned with, that's when he was kind of like, yeah, maybe we should be working together.
Should we?
She
would
maybe has
that
a
be
point.
nice?
Well, it is that funny thing that she kind of echoes back to Travers what he says to her at the start, even though he is incredibly condescending and, like you're dealing with grown-ups now. That line always makes my blood boil.
Yikes.
He says something about Buffy. What does he say? He says Giles, something like, because Giles is all cracked up. He's like, let me talk to Buffy because I think she's understanding me. And then in Buffy's speech, she echoes that back to him. Because all the other Watchers are getting all...
Yeah.
Yeah. How dare she talk to us like that? Oh, yeah, the Watchers can't... and getting swords thrown at them. That was pretty cool. But yeah, and in her speech, she ends up saying that, I want answers from Quentin because I think he's understanding me. So I do like that little echo back. Because you do see him go, oh, yeah.
Yep. Sees an error in his ways.
Yeah.
Let me talk to Buffy because I think she's understanding me.
Now, still talking about the Watchers Council. So Buffy, she gets Giles his job back with retroactive pay, but she doesn't ask to get paid herself. This is often a big thing, a big discussion within the fandom, saying, why isn't the Slayer paid? Like people are very...
Well, this is actually, it's an interesting thing you bring up, and just sort of thinking about it, do heroes get paid? If you're being paid, are you a hero or just a mercenary? When you really think about it, that's a bit of a You know,
I think the boys kind of do that a bit. Like
what boys?
The Boys, the TV show The Boys.
Oh, right. Okay, right.
Yeah.
I thought you meant The Boys. Oh,
No.
right. Yeah. So if you're being paid to save the world, then I mean, Superman doesn't get paid.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't get paid.
Yeah, Batman's already a millionaire.
He doesn't pay him $1. Aquaman, will they just pay him with whiskey?
He's a king.
He's a king. Spider-Man doesn't get paid.
He has a job.
Taking pictures of himself, doing
He's a
selfies,
photographer.
doing selfies. But yeah, but still, I'm saying, he doesn't. Those characters don't get paid.
Well, most
to
of the
save the
time
world.
they have jobs that keep them engaged in the world.
Yeah, well, she's at college, so but you're talking about being paid for being the Slayer, though. Okay,
Yes.
so you're being paid to be the hero. See, that's a bit of a conundrum, because if you're being paid, then are you really a hero?
Yeah, something to think about.
Yeah.
But my thoughts on getting paid, or the Slayer being paid.
Okay, what are your thoughts, Eddie?
Well, so if the Watchers Council had have approached Buffy and offered to work with her, but pay her, that probably would have been a better way of controlling her.
Yeah.
If they wanted control of the Slayer, rather than coming in with threats. Because then they could always use they could always use firing her
as a way of controlling
as a way
her.
of
Yeah.
controlling her.
Well, see, maybe they didn't have to necessarily pay her money directly. They could have at least paid for expenses for her, like gave her a lavish apartment, a car, stuff like
Well,
that.
the whole thing is if they do pay her, it means that she can concentrate on slaying. Like, she doesn't have to work a 9-to-5 job or work a minimum wage job or
Yeah. So that could be, and that way you don't cross. But if they, instead of paying her, they're giving her expenses, and that could sort of at least not blur the lines of having to pay the hero and whether that's sort of right or wrong, but take care of her expenses at least. So
But
she doesn't
again-
have to work to live and to do stuff like that. So that could be a compromise, maybe.
yeah. But that could still be used as a means of control.
But and still, that's what I mean. And still
Yeah.
have a means of control. So yeah.
But would it be worth it? Like, what's more worth it? Having actual cash money or
Well, if she had,
expenses?
I guess, we'll give her petty cash. I don't know.
7 million.
Get a Slayer card.
So,
Never leave the
yeah.
cave without it.
But I think money's probably a better manipulation
Yeah, well, it's simpler, I guess. Just-
device.
yeah.
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 That's all the notes I've got.
Okay.
Is there anything you wanted to bring up?
hang on. Actually,
Oh.
there was something I wanted to bring up. The silent ending.
Oh, okay. Yep.
They did the silent ending this episode. So when he reveals that she is not a demon and a god, and she's like, oh, and it does the cut to silence.
Yes. Yep.
So just a brief mention on that. So that's usually an indication to the audience that shit's getting real,
Yeah.
as I've mentioned before.
Yeah. I did find another note. Why do you think the episode is called Checkpoint?
And we've passed the midway point of the season.
Well, don't we have to check off? She has to check off all the little points before she can get the information she needs about Glory.
Oh, really? Is that why? You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That
Before
works.
she can pass.
Yeah. Get through all the checkpoints. Yeah.
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 And had you seen this episode?
No, haven't seen this episode. New one to me. So that was a revelation for me. Like I said before, that she was a god. Like I didn't know. I just figured she was a demon. The idea of meeting a god. She's not the god, is she?
No.
She's a god.
She's just a god.
It was kind of a big revelation. Yeah.
And did you go down any rabbit hole?
Well, I did want to mention the actor who played Quentin Travis, Harris Yulin.
Yes.
This guy's been acting since the early 70s.
Yeah.
And he's not slowing down anytime soon. Probably most memorable roles was he played the judge in Ghostbusters 2. I remember that. If you remember that scene.
Yes.
In Training Day, I've never seen Training Day. I've seen all the memes for it. And he was in Ozark this first season he was the old man who lived in a house with the family in the first season who had like a terrible illness or something. And just a long list of credits here. One thing that did catch my eye.
Was he in any of the Law and Orders?
Yes, he was. Yes.
Was he in any of the CSIs?
Yes, I think he was. Hang on.
And any of the medical shows?
Sorry, no, he wasn't in CSI. 24.
Ah, yeah.
Medical shows. Which ones?
Like, ER.
Oh,
Grace.
ER. Third Watch.
Oh, yeah, I think that
Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah. X-Files.
Ah.
Yeah. Frasier. Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Ah, yeah.
Yes. Yep. Love
I
you,
think
Trekkies.
that was the next one I was going to say.
Is he in Star Trek? Yep. Yep. One show I did sort of catch my eye. Have you ever heard of a show called Policewoman?
No.
So this was a show from 1974. Most of the cast of the show are still alive, which I think is an achievement as of 2023. This is a woman who goes undercover as a policewoman.
Never heard of it.
I'm guessing it maybe didn't come to Australia. I don't know. I never probably didn't make syndication. I was just watching a bit of it. That classic sort of sort of music in it. I'll play a little bit of it here.
Who did this to you? Won't you help us so they won't do this to
It's
someone
like
else?
classic sort of
These are straight
70s
dice.
sort of.
Sides and corners. You can feel them if your hands are sensitive enough.
So
But in the
yeah,
hands of
she
a
has
good
to go
shooter,
undercover.
They come up 7. You go up.
I don't know. I just find these shows interesting. I never heard of them. Who was the woman who played Policewoman? What's behind the police? Women? Police? Policewoman. Angie Dickinson. She sounds familiar. No? Ever heard of her? I don't know. Not really a rabbit hole, but old TV shows I am a bit of a sucker for. I don't think I will watch this, but yeah. So just one of many, many shows that have starred Harris Yulin. So shout out to Harris Yulin for his dedication, and may he continue working for the next 50 years, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, all right. Anyway, that was it. Anything else you want to throw in, Eddie? Get into question time?
Yeah, let's just get into
Let's get into question time.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
All right, Eddie. Go for it.
All right, Jarrod. Which character was your favourite in this episode?
I liked Giles.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought Giles was my
The
favourite.
look on his face at the end when Buffy's doing that speech, he's just had proud papa written all over his face. He was so proud of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Buffy.
Buffy? Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Which character do you love to hate?
Quentin Travis, I think, was the correct answer on that one.
I just have
All of them?
Watchers Council, all of them. They're
all of them.
all horrible.
Yeah.
They're all awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. LOL moment.
I did like the scene where Spike and Joyce were watching Passions together and we're going on about Timmy being stuck down the well.
Yes.
They still on that plot thread?
Yeah.
Passions is coming on.
Passions? Oh, do you think Timmy's really dead?
Oh, no. She can just sew him back together. He's a doll, for God's sake.
What about the wedding? I mean, there's no way they're going to go through with that.
Is that all that show was about? Timmy falling down the well?
No.
Okay.
I don't think he actually ever did fall down a well. But yeah.
Is that one of those misquote things or something about the show? Or like Beam Me Up Scotty sort of thing? Like something that never happened in a show but everyone remembers happening?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know? Okay, all right.
Timmy was like a doll that kept he was a doll some of the times, and then he would come to life, and then all of a sudden at one stage he was just human again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds like something straight out of a David Lynch.
Yeah, it was
Was
very...
it anything to do with David Lynch?
No.
No? Okay.
The LOL moment that I like is when Giles and Buffy are talking in the magic shop after the Watchers Council have left, and Giles is talking about the Watchers Council and how good they are at the bureaucracy and that they can kill you with the pen.
Stroke of a pen.
As he's talking that, he's cleaning his glasses and you just hear the glasses snap in his hand.
Clean them so hard. I really hate those guys.
Yeah. But I might also mention I think it gets an honourable mention is Anya's little, well, I was a demon.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
Yeah. It's when Buffy says we're talking about two powerful witches and a 1,000-year-old ex-demon, and Anya asks that with, well, I was a demon.
Yeah.
Favourite fight scene?
Well, actually, my favourite fight scene was the one with Buffy fighting the vamp. I think it was the only fight. Oh, actually, no, I think about it. The one with the Templars was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, the Templar one. Sorry, not Templars. The
Knights of the Sethium.
I'm gonna call them Templars from this point on.
Right,
Fuck
you can
it.
just call them
the Templars. Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah, but an honourable mention and maybe an honourable LOL moment in both was when she was fighting the vampire at the start, and she mentions how she's arguing with the professor while she's hitting the vampire, and the vampire's like, "Who are you talking to?" He actually looks a little bit disturbed, like, "Oh, I think I got the crazy crazy slayer."
So that's my favourite fight scene, and it's her taking out her aggression
of course,
on the vampire.
This poor guy was her punching bag.
Well, she pretty much got fully humiliated by the professor, and then she gets humiliated by Spike. And
oh well, you're going to say mansplained, weren't you? Vampsplained
by Spike.
Yeah,
when he jumps in.
Yeah.
Okay. Favourite scene.
Now I like this scene, and it's with Buffy and Glory. Gloria? I wrote down Gloria. It's Glory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do they call her Gloria? It's just Glory.
It's just Glory.
And
or it's either Glory or Glorificus.
Glorificus.
Yeah.
Sounds like some sort of debaucherous Roman activity.
The Glorificus.
The Glorificus hole. And when Glory's talking to her and Dawn comes up behind Glory as she's talking to Buffy, and Buffy's reaction, her facial expressions when she sees Dawn and sees as Glory mentions the key, and it's that bad poker face, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But she's really trying to hold it together while she's talking about utterly destroying the thing that's standing behind her that she doesn't know, or she doesn't know. So I really liked SMG's performance in that. I thought it looked really good. It was quite believable of trying to contain and
Buffy is also in a lot of danger in that scene, and Dawn is also in a lot of danger in that scene.
Yeah, so she's really trying not to react too much, to give too much away, and control herself to not aggravate the situation because she knows that things will go bad.
It's also that thing that Buffy's also been used to vampires who can't get in the house.
Yeah.
That house is her safe space.
Yeah, and during the day as well.
Yeah.
So she can just walk in whenever she likes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, props to SMG. So give her a round of applause for that one. Well done.
I think you know what my favourite scene is.
The end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her big speech.
The beatdown.
I'll
drop the mic.
I'll just do the little start of the speech.
Okay, just to do a little bit. Thank you.
So we'll do Buffy goes, no review, no interrogation, no questions you know I can't answer, no hoops, no jumps, and no interruptions. See, I've had a lot of people talking at me in the last few days. Everyone just lining up to tell me how unimportant I am. And I finally figured out why. Power. I have it. They don't. This bothers them. That's all.
Oh, is it? Okay,
That's
yep.
all I'll do from that
Okay,
scene.
all right, thank you.
It's a long scene.
It is, yeah.
It's a great
yeah.
scene. But
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very
I'll
good.
do that
yeah.
bit. I might do a little bit more. And
Okay. Well, the next question. Oh, no, it's not.
all right. Least favorite scene.
Well, I thought the college scene was a bit dull.
Oh, with the professor.
Professor, yeah. Yeah, I thought that scene was a bit forgettable.
Okay. Yeah, probably the Watchers Council when they start interrogating her friends, because it was sort of that kind of like when watching the TikTok hearing on like the congressional hearing.
Oh, okay.
Where
Gonna make that comparison.
no, well, it's that interrogation where whatever the answer you give, they're gonna turn it on you.
Yeah.
So, if you mention children, it's like you love children, that kind of thing where they whatever they said, like, they say, oh yeah, we help out the Slayer and we did like this conjoining spell, and they're like, does she need your help a lot?
Was it a little Terry Gilliam?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little Terry Gilliam,
but
that
it didn't
scene?
matter what they said. It was always going to be turned around on them as wrong. Like, especially like Willow and Tara.
Yeah, they seem more like job interviews than review in questions, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, it was like, what part do you play in the, in helping out the Slayer? And they're like, we do research and like also having to explain themselves to these people who do absolutely nothing.
I know. Oh, we could go on all day about them.
Yeah. Favorite quote?
Well, I think your quote you just did then was pretty good. The Buffy's drop the mic moment.
Yeah. I also like you guys didn't come all the way from England to determine whether or not I was good enough to be let back in. You came to beg me to let you back in.
Yeah.
And give your jobs, your lives, some semblance of meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's calling him out on their bullying tactics.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then, you can never go past the power, I have it. They don't. This bothers them.
Exactly. Yeah. Story of our life, really.
Oh, it really is. It's a good metaphor for politics.
Actually, and just a little side note, because we were watching the Scream movies a lot lately, and I'd just seen a little bit of a parallel between Sydney's character and Buffy's character. Coincidentally, SMG was in the second one that I completely forgot.
Yeah. Cece.
But the final scene in every Scream film is the killer just completely going crazy, like, foam frothing at the mouth of, like, just completely, because considering they've been in control the whole time, then they just sort of lose their shit at the end.
But when they're doing their explanation,
and it's all
the
crazy. Sometimes I just go crazy.
Whoa! I was the killer the whole time.
I was worried about you, Mary.
I'm feeling kind of
woozy. And how they always blame everything on Sydney, and it's all her fault that this happened. If she had only just not existed or something, like, she literally does nothing in the shows, in the movies, to deserve all the hatred that she gets. But it happens every time. Of that speech at the end of, it was always you and it was never me. And
no, it's like she gets blamed for the
blamed,
sin.
yeah.
No, so she always gets blamed for the sins of her mother.
Yeah, or other people, even just existing as well. Like, you
and
get
then
all
she was getting blamed for the sins of her boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. And a brother she didn't know was somehow her fault. And
that was the sins of her mother.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of kind of this Buffy's parallel, that everything she's done is wrong and it's all her fault.
Yeah.
When she really hasn't done anything to deserve it. And I just saw the kind of a parallel between the Scream films character Sydney and Buffy of the Vampire Slayer. So I thought that was a little interesting. So a little side note there.
Yeah, but sort of being, you do have a good point, though. Like, they're both always thrown into these situations that they don't get any say in it.
Well, it's not like they even accidentally created these situations. Like, maybe they had they contributed somehow to the situation, or they accidentally run over someone, or they did something.
The way that they contributed was that they didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah.
the first time.
Oh, it's just envy of him, like, oh, how dare you get all that attention and not me, and
Yeah.
you got all those subscribers and I don't. Blah. Anyway, moving on.
All right, who gets the wooden spoon?
The Watchers Council get the wooden spoon, don't they, Eddie? There's really no question about that. Oh, there is?
I give it to the Knights because
the Knights?
do you know why?
You know what? I completely forgot about the Knights Templar. That's how relevant they are.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because they make me lose my suspension of disbelief.
Okay. they break the. They break it.
They break it for me.
Yeah.
It fully removes me.
Yeah.
Which you never want in your fantasy TV series.
Yeah, fair. That's a fair call.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're so irrelevant. I'd even forgotten about them.
But they get worse. That's the problem. Who's the MVP of the episode?
I gave it to Spike.
All right.
I thought Spike saved Buffy at the start.
Did not.
He did. She was struggling.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, she was struggling.
She was getting she was just letting off some steam.
Yeah, I know. She needed help. I could tell. Hold the door open for her next time. And taking on Joyce and Dawn as well. He didn't have to do that. That was nice of him.
Okay.
Staying in a nice, dark, dingy crypt.
Yeah. I loved what you've neglected to do with the place.
I love what you've neglected to do with the place. Actually, that should have been. I did see that quote. That should have been it.
All right.
Yeah.
That can be your
that
quote.
Could be,
I love what you've neglected to do
with the place. Yeah.
You know what? I'm going with Buffy because she realizes that they all get their power from trying to convince Buffy that she doesn't have any.
I know. Look, it really was Buffy, but I just try. I know it's always her, so I try to give it to someone else sometimes who did something.
In this case, I sort of have to give it to Buffy because she really is the center of this episode.
She is. To the name.
Yeah, but she isn't. It doesn't always revolve around her. Like the last episode really didn't.
No, true.
She was pretty much a B plot in the last episode. What do you rate this episode out of 10 using something from the episode?
I will give it 5, maybe 6 broken glass lenses from rubbing them too hard.
Broken glasses?
Yeah.
Okay, I give this 8 out of 10 statues that melt eyeballs.
Oh, yeah. Can't give those out for free, can you?
No.
Yeah. All right, Eddie. Well, it looks like we've reached the end of the episode. Halfway through the hump. Oh, over the hump now, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Getting there, yeah. Getting close to our 100th. We've got to do something special for our 100th, haven't we?
What are we going to do?
A podcast episode.
Got to get there first.
Got to get there first. It's a struggle. It is.
Yeah.
Not really. So, can we just wrap this up, Eddie?
All right, then.
Let's just wrap this up.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to us tonight. We are Nerd Subculture. My name is Jarrod.
I'm Edwina.
And where can you find us, Edwina?
Well, you can find us and follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. And you can email us at nerdsubculture@gmail.com. And if you want to help out the podcast, please follow the link tree on the socials for the merch store.
Yes, and I've opened another tier on the Patreon. You can buy us a coffee for $5. All right,
Got
coffee.
nothing on the Patreon.
Well, no, it's just $5. So, yeah,
right.
Buy me a coffee or something. But yeah. And Eddie makes some really cool videos on YouTube. Make sure you give a like and a chat to that. So, yeah. All right. So we'll wrap this up, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
We are the knights who say... Ni!
No,
not the knights who say ni. The same!